as you're looking at this. That's what we like to do. We like to do this really well. Even though we know this is a freebie, we still try to do the best that we possibly can. And who else do I need to say hello to? Let me say hello to Jennifer, who's joining us from Arizona. Good to see you, Jennifer. Got just a couple of seconds before we jump in, and I'm so excited because it's a new series week, and that always brings new life to me and new life to every one of you. And I think this is going to be one of the best series that we've had in a while. Not that we haven't been in some good series here recently, but I think this one's going to be great. So just a huge favor, jump in there and let us know that you are here. See this? You haven't missed anything yet, but don't make me think that I'm alone all the way over here in California. Just say hello, tell us where you're joining us from and what you're excited about this week. And we want to connect with you. That's why. There's Amber saying hello. How's it going, Amber? All right. Well, with no further delay, what are we talking about this week? And this is what we're talking about this week. We are starting a new series, and it's called the 5-Minute Makeover. Be a better coach and live a better life in 5 minutes a day. Now, the funny thing is that as I say this, probably you're thinking, can 5 minutes a day really make any kind of noticeable difference in my life? And you'd be right to ask that question, because I will say that it doesn't really compute. It doesn't sound very logical. But what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to answer that. I'm going to give you the argument for 5 minutes a day, because it has been researched and it has been proven and all of those other things. And then what we're going to be doing over the successive next few weeks or so is that we're going to be giving you tools, and we're going to give you things to do and implement in your life that'll make you a better coach, but it's overall going to give you more satisfaction and help you be more productive in your life and a lot of other things. So your life's going to be better. The expectation is in the next month, your life's going to improve drastically and dramatically. That's what we're hoping for. Let me say hello to a couple more people who are saying hello to me. Cynthia is joining us from St. Louis. Tanya is joining us from Texas. Hannah is saying hello from Manila. All right, Hannah, that's so cool. We also need to say hello to Asteria from Indiana. That may not be your name. It may be just your Facebook page or something like that. So cool. So my job tonight, give you the argument for the 5 minutes. Again, researched and has been proven. And tonight I'm going to give you the results, because I want you to be encouraged. You know, transformation in your life and getting results in your life doesn't mean an upheaval of life all the time. Sometimes it is making choices that make a huge difference in your life. And here's the reality, is that as you are working with clients, you're going to see that making a step like this seems like a daunting task for people, but actually what I'm going to show you tonight is if they can begin to take some steps, some real practical steps in their life, then they're going to see transformation. So let's jump in. 5 minutes doesn't sound like much, really. It's actually counterintuitive that if I tell you to make a huge difference in your life, you're going to have to do something more than 5 minutes. Most of you are probably not impressed. You're not convinced that 5 minutes could do much of anything. And the reason why is because all of us think that massive action's the way to go there. Now listen, I love massive action. I love taking really bold steps and doing things that I know will really have an effect. But here's a couple of things that I'll tell you. When you're working with clients and they're taking their first steps, sometimes you can't get them to take the massive action. They're kind of scared of it. Sometimes people need things in their life that gives them the beginning steps to start going towards something. But here's the other thing that I want to really show you, though, because I think that most of the time we've just overemphasized massive action. And we're drawn to things that we think are going to get us the results as quickly as we possibly can. Like, for instance, this little ad campaign right here. We have this attraction to action. And tell me, what are the things out of here that attract you as you're listening to these things? Like, look at this ad. How to drop a size in 6 weeks. Well, that sounds really good. This lady looks super happy. She looks super stoked. She's just like, yes, I finally found a program that can help me drop a pant size or a dress size in 6 weeks. A month and a half sounds really good. I've been stuck. I've been plateaued. Maybe I've got a program that's in front of me right now that can help me get results. But we've got someone who's checking them right now, like in this program that you see right here. The 2-week transformation. Lose a pant size in 2 weeks, guaranteed. Oh, I know what some of you are thinking. Now, if you see 6 weeks versus 2 weeks, which one are you going to go for? And especially with this little 2 weeks guaranteed and bestseller, and who knows who this guy is, but you're like, okay, do I want to look like this or do I want to look like this? Because they're showing me the before, but now we're seeing the results. Maybe that's what I want. So what would you buy? Would you buy 6 weeks or would you buy 2 weeks? I'm just really interested. Throw it in the comments. On this, looking side by side, would you be more drawn to choosing the 2-week plan to get to lose a size or a 6-week plan? I'm just really interested. Let me say hello to a couple more people who are saying hello to me as well. Patrick's joining us from Eugene, Oregon. Kimberly's joining us from Chicago. Cynthia's like, I'm no dummy. I'm not going to pick 6 weeks. I'm going to pick 2 weeks. And I don't blame you. Everybody's attracted to massive action. And there's a lot of different reasons why we're attracted to massive action. We're attracted to massive action because we want massive results. We want quick results. We're impatient for results. But I'm not going to leave you there. We went from 6 weeks to 2 weeks. I wonder if anybody's invented something that could get us there a little bit faster. Maybe lose a whole dress or pant size in just 1 week. The size a week slim down every week. You will lose. This is what so now when you see these next to each other, which one are you guys going to choose? Are you going to choose drop a size in 6 weeks, drop a size in 2 weeks, or drop a whole dress or pant size in just 1 week? Which one's most appealing to you? And which one would you do? Let me look over here at our comments really quick. A couple of people were originally saying 2, but I'm seeing people who are like, oh, wow, I can actually not do 6 weeks. I can do it in 1. What would you have to do in 1? What is that going to require? I don't know. But it's here's the thing that it draws us in for, is that when you see action and you see massive results, that's always going to be the thing that seems to attract people. You know what it does? It appeals to instant gratification. But here's the other thing, is that it also appeals to, it appeals to a little bit of laziness and bad habits in us. And I don't know that you guys realize that. But it's kind of like, I don't know if I can do this for 6 weeks, but anybody can probably suck it up and put in the action and put in the work for a week and get the results, right? So let me tell you some things that you probably don't know. You probably don't know that, and I teach this actually in boot camp and also in our life coach certification course, but big goals are more motivating for the life of the goal, but after the goal is reached, people often go back to who they were before. What do I mean by that? Well, here's what happens. When you are in school, and one of the things that I always teach our coaches about goals in general, this is what I want you guys to get, because I want you to become a better coach, while at the same time, I want you to benefit personally from some of the knowledge that I'm sharing tonight. When we get into our life, latter part of our life, when we graduate college and all those other things, a lot of times the things that are the deepest dreams and desires of our heart, for many of you it's to become a coach, a lot of those things get put off and we don't actually do them. And they never happen. In many cases, they kind of end up being a dream under the pillow that we pull out and we think about every now and then, but we don't really take practical steps towards those things. Now, what coaches do is that we do something that was lost when we were in elementary school, and when we were in high school, and we were in college, or even in work for that matter. And there's this thing that hangs over us when we were in elementary school, when we were in junior high, when we were in high school, when we were in college, and when we were at work. It's this thing that hangs over us, and it's a deadline. Now, what the deadline does is that it enforces when you're going to get something done. It's an accountability measure. And so there's a boundary that is set and created that, you know what, you're going to fail if you don't study, if you don't turn in this paper by this time. You're going to fail, and now faced with failure, it makes us do something. And you know when it makes us do something? It makes us do something in the last minute, in most cases. So what coaching does, now what we try to do is that we try to take a big goal, whatever the client is wanting, and to help them think through what are the steps that they want to, because it's client-centered. So they're going to come up with a goal, and they're also going to generate the options and the steps and the strategy and all those other things. And what are we going to do along the way is that we're going to make it measurable so that at any given time, the client's going to know where they stand in relation to the goal, and so are you. And what we're going to do is that we're going to help them walk alongside, partner with them to make sure that they don't self-sabotage, that the strategy is working that they're taking, and that they're taking action every week and all of those other things. But you know what happens in the coaching relationship is that, you know, sometimes there's a week or two goes by and they get off their game and things kind of, you know, the wheels fall off or whatever, you know. And so they'll miss some of their deadlines, and they'll miss some of those kinds of things going along the way. What we're trying to do is that we're trying to keep them accountable and on point and all of those other things. But sometimes they'll miss it, or what they'll do is that they might miss something on one week, but the next week they'll double down on action and catch up or whatever. Those are the kinds of things that happen. And here's what happens, though, in this, is that what always happens in a coaching relationship is that there's always learning and there's character development, and hopefully habits change along the way. But here's what happens oftentimes. In a coaching relationship or in any kind of goal-focused anything, we're going after a goal here. This is what we want. And you know what? For the most part, people can kind of behave themselves for a little while there. Like when they know that they're going after a big goal and they're like, hey, you know what, I can endure this and I can stay on point. Maybe like studying for an exam, you know, you kind of farted around and you didn't get anything done, and then all of a sudden, you know, that deadline's looming, and then you pull an all-nighter. Drink a bunch of coffee, you stay up all night, you finish that paper, you get it turned in on time, and what do? You go into cruise control, because you know that there's nothing required of you until the next time there's a deadline. And so what ends up happening is that the deadline creates a boundary and it keeps you from failing, but it doesn't necessarily change your habits and the way that you show up in life. So that what happens in many cases is that people often go back to who they were before they go after the goal. But here's what I want us to understand, is that if you could start taking control of your life and the systems in life, and that you actually start changing your habits, what can happen is that you will improve by 1% every day. Just doing a small thing in 5 minutes, you can improve 1% every day, and after a full year, you will have improved by a total of 37% in 1 year. You will be 37 times, I should say, not 37%, we're talking 37 times better than what you are right now. So it's a much, actually more drastic improvement than 37%, 37 more times better than you are right now. Now, let me illustrate a couple of things for you. I know some of you are like, well, what's that 1% difference and all of this other stuff? Does it really impact anything? Well, let's imagine that we're all getting in a jet together. We get in a jet together, and what we're going to do is that we're going to take this jet and we're going to go all the way across the country, and we've got a plan to go to New York City. And this is what the trip looks like. If we're going direct, if we got a direct flight from LAX to New York City, that's what it looks like. Now, if I told you that the plane was off target by about 3 feet to start. If the plane is leaving LAX and that they are varying from this trip from point A to point B by 3 feet, like literally we're pointing the nose of the plane only 3 feet. That's like 1 yard. We're talking about this much. We're going to point the nose of the plane this far away from where it's supposed to be. Would you think that that would make much of a difference? Because we're just going to New York City. I mean, like, it's the nose of a plane. We're really talking about, this is about a 50-inch screen. We're talking about like less than that. Huge plane is only varying that much, that degree off going to New York City. Do you think it would change anything? Well, here's the crazy thing, is that it actually would. If you vary the nose of that plane by 3 feet, here's where you end up landing. You land in Washington, D.C. Because what ends up happening is because of that orientation, incremental changes take place over time, and it leads you to a place that driving time is about 4 hours difference, depending on what's going on with traffic, to now get to New York City. This is what incremental change happens. Now listen, it works both ways. For those of you who have bad habits, because here's what happens, is that people try to do something new, because here's what's going to happen in that 6-week plan for most people. That 6-week, lose a dress size, lose a pant size, most people are not going to stay honest for 6 weeks. They might be able to stay honest for a week and implement some changes, but most people are going to fail in that 6-week plan. We all know this. Why is this? Because we know that there's a lack of discipline, there's a lack of mindset, and there's a lack of habits that can get them there. So what we know is that since they're not going to see the results, they're not going to lose half a pant size in a week. They're going to lose half a pant size in like 3 weeks on that 6-week plan. So you know what people will do? Well, I don't think this thing's working for me. I think it doesn't even matter. I can't even lose weight. It doesn't matter what I do. That's what people end up doing. And so they won't stay on track because see how close this is right here? Let me see if I can zoom in. Like before you leave California, you look still pretty much on track. It's over time that you see the incremental change that actually happens. Now, here's the deal. When this happens, this is why people don't stay in the game. They don't see the first few minutes, the first hour, the first week or whatever. They don't see that change making a difference, so they lose hope in it and they give up on it and they won't even do 5 minutes a day. But if they did, then they would see the change that happens over time. And it's a profound change at the end of it. See, this is the difference between just simple goals and habits. This is the way these things kind of play out. You know, most people, this is by a quote by Matthew Kelly, says most people overestimate what they can do in a day and they underestimate what they can do in a month. What's actually going to determine things is how you're showing up, the discipline in your life. Will you actually implement some things and allow it to do its work and to make you a little bit better every day? I know we all want to set really big goals. I love massive goals. I know it's what gets your clients up in the morning. It's what gets you up in the morning. And what probably is not going to get you up in the morning, at least up to now, because you're still not convinced, is that changing one habit 5 minutes a day could actually bring incremental change in your life. Well, what's the option? I had a guy that I worked with years ago. I can't remember his last name. His name is Todd. And we were working for this company while I was in college. And he was much older than me, great salesperson and everything else. Me, not so much. College kid trying to make some money. And they were trying to get me with Todd so that I could learn how to sell from Todd. Well, the thing is that Todd would always offer this little bit of help in whatever he was selling that could make the note fit into their budget, but it wouldn't be a drastic change. But over time, it would make a huge change in terms of their interest and all of this other stuff, because we were selling siding, if you can believe that. And Todd would always say, he was from West Wego, Louisiana, and he'd always say, hey, A little bit of something's better than a whole lot of nothing. How will I apply that today? Well, probably a lot of us who are sitting here today, if you're not taking bold, real steps at all, if you're, see, some people are like, well, I don't want to start getting trained and certified yet because, it's just going to take me a long time or whatever. We've tried to make it as easy as we possibly can with our program. Like, you really, it's about 30 hours, but it's self-paced, so you can set your own schedule. Or you can join us live on a Tuesday. Or you can join us for a boot camp and you can knock it out over the course of a weekend. Like, we try to do all of these kinds of things. We try to make it as easy as possible to get training and certification out of the way and give you the steps to get your business up and going. So what people will do, because they think that, oh, I can't make this massive step, so I'm unwilling to take the small steps. So what you have is that you have a whole lot of nothing instead of a little bit of something. At least take one step towards what you're wanting in your life, which means that maybe today it's getting your enrollment started, which takes you 90 seconds, and you have instant access. You get to determine how long it takes you to do something, and then you enforce a habit that every day you're taking steps towards something, because here's the deal. Year's already almost over again. It's practically 2024. We're already midway through September. Now, if you actually got trained and certified and you got some things in order, you could actually have your business up and going by January, which is a huge month for coaches, we all know. New year, all of that other stuff. But if you wait another day, you're not going to be just waiting another day or another week thinking, oh, I'm going to make this, for some massive change because it's unsatisfying. Actually take a step today, and then what do you have? You step right into the middle of a super busy month in January. Because if you don't do it now, you're probably not going to be starting before April of next year. I just know how it goes. Things will happen. Your life's not going to get any simpler. It's not going to get less busy. What it requires is for you to take a step, be disciplined, put a habit, and inform it right now. And we're talking about 5 minutes a day. We're not talking about hours a day. 5 minutes a day is more than what most of us are doing right now towards those dreams. And we watch incrementally how it changes. So what happens for people is, since they don't see instant results in the small things, what they do is they stay in the bad habits. That is the little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. People stay in the habits that they are. They keep eating the fruit of the habits that they have right now in the way that they're showing up. And so they have a whole lot of nothing instead of a little bit of something. So let's describe what goals versus habits do, because coaches always talk about goals. And here's what I would say. If you want short-term big results, then you can just simply choose a goal. Choose a goal, big goal, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day goal, whatever. And you know what? You can get short-term big results out of choosing a goal. Because if it's big enough, we all know that if it's big enough, that creates a certain amount of high motivation, and you might be able to get it done. But like I'm saying, is that even though you achieve the goal, you're likely still going to have bad habits, because you're still probably going to be sitting around at deadlines at the very end instead of taking the incremental steps every day in the week. If you lack discipline in your life, you're probably going to lose. And here's the thing. Go back to that picture a while ago. The 6-week, 2-week, 1-week plan. Who maintains that weight? Who maintains that size after it's over with? And most of you would probably know, if somebody does the 1-week crash course and loses the weight, what are you going to know? They're probably going to go back to normal, and that means that they're going to go back to their normal dress or pant size after that. That's what happens, because we can press through and make some things happen and probably put off gratification for a week. But what we're trying to enforce is some long-term results, which means that you start having systems in place that actually serve you long-term so that you keep getting change. If you want long-term, exponential change that never stops, then all you got to do is you just choose a system or a habit. You know, most of us think that we need to change our results, but what we really need to change are the systems that cause those results. Now, I want you to not try to think too hard about this. I want you to go with your first gut response and stick it in the chat for me. Here's a big question for you. Would you rather, I like to play would you rathers with my kids. Would you rather have a penny doubled every day for 30 days, or would you rather have $1 million? So you can choose. I'm going to give you a penny a day and double it every day for 30 days, or I'm going to give you $1 million cash right now. What would you check? I don't want you to think through anything. Just what's your gut response like? What's your immediate response? Throw it in the chat really quick for me. I'm going to hang here for a second so you guys can respond. Would you rather have a penny doubled every day for 30 days or $1 million cash right now? And so I want you to go with gut response. Don't try to think that I'm trying to trick anybody or whatever. Just gut response. I got $1 million or I got a penny in front of me that I'm telling you will double every day. Which one are you going to go for? And so I appreciate the honesty out of the gut response, like Terrain was saying, $1 million in cash right now. We've got Sandy saying $1 million. We've got $1 million. All of this. Now, here's the thing. That is what the gut response is. That's the way that most people are operating anyway. Well, that makes sense. If you put $1 million in front of me, I'm just going to grab a hold of it. But even Tamala says, I'll take $1 million. And so, again, I appreciate you guys answering all this. So let me show you what the difference is from someone who has a the goal-oriented response, that massive action response, to someone who is going to partner with incremental change in their life, to show you what you get. Now, here's the thing. When you look at this thing, is day one isn't the thing that we want to see. And Terrain's trying to mess up my responses over here. So sorry, Terrain. Day one, what do you get? Day one, you have 1 penny, because I said that's what I'm going to give you. But tomorrow I'm going to double it. Okay? So day 2, what do you get on day 2? Day 2, you get 2 pennies. So Tamala's got $1 million right now. She's hanging out with $1 million. And on day 2, you got 2 pennies. And on day 3, you got 4 pennies. And on day 4, you've got 8 pennies. Why? Because we're doubling it, right? Day 5, 16 cents. Tamala's still got $1 million. Sandy's got $1 million, and you got 16 cents. Day 6, you got 32 cents. Day 7, you got 64 cents. Day 8, $1.28. Day 9, $2.56. Day 10, look at what you're sitting at, $5.12. And now you look like a bonehead, don't you? Because you picked pennies, and you're 10 days in, we're a third of the month in, and you picked a penny. Meanwhile, Sandy's got $1 million, and she's having fun. But let's keep going on. Day 11, are we doing any better at day 11? Well, we don't even have $82. Or day 14, we don't even have $82 yet. Day 15, we're at $163.84. Day 16, $327.68. Day 17, $655.36. Day 18, $1,300. Day 19, $2,621. Day 20, $5,242. Now here's the thing. We're at day 20. Sandy's still got $1 million. Tamala has been having fun for 3 weeks straight with $1 million, and you're like, okay, I need to pay some bills here, and I've been just counting pennies. I've been doubling pennies. Does this make any sense? Did we make the right decision? Because it only feels like each day I'm getting about this far, and it still seems like, Tamala, And Sandy and all them are way ahead of all of us, right? Well, day 21, we start to get a little bit like there's a parting of the clouds. It's kind of breaking through $10,485. That's a far cry from $1 million. But 485s. But day 22, we get to almost $21,000, $29,751.52. Day 23, $41,943. Day 24, we're almost at the end of those 30 days, and we've only got just under $84,000. That's still only a tenth of what you would have gotten if you would have just chosen the $1 million. But I want to show you what happens around day 25. Day 25, things start moving up and escalating an exponential increase. Because we go from day 25, $167,000 to $335 to $677 to $1.32 to $2.68. So the people on here who are the accountants know how incremental increase comes. And so they might be able to, and I would say that the CPAs and accountants that I know are wired a little bit differently. But this is the way that most people function in their everyday life. They want gratification. They want results. They want to see something happen, and we want to see happen now. And that leads you to all kinds of really, really bad habits and bad decisions and a lack of follow-through, because one of the main reasons why you see people not have follow-through and not be consistent, and this is a problem I see amongst coaches. Coaches want the quick as well. They're relational people, but they're like, how fast can I make this happen and everything else? And you know what you end up doing? Is you end up making a lot of bad decisions. You won't stay in the game. You won't be consistent, and you're just kind of running around and trying to figure out, how do I hack this thing? And that's also going to hurt your clients as well. You got to learn what are the things that if I showed up every day for 5 minutes could truly bring exponential change in my life. Day 30 is $5,368,709. That's what you get at 30 days. Not just doubling where we were at, but more than quadrupling what Sandy and Tamala have. And again, we're not knocking them. What did I ask on the front end? I'm asking for you to go with your gut response, and that's what people make. They make gut responses, and they choose not to live day by day in a way that gets them a result. See, because if you show up living every day for a result, what ends up happening is that you move from short-term impulsive thinking to long-term intentional incremental change. Because once you put these things in place, they don't stop. See, here's the thing. Maybe for our purposes there, we said we would double the penny every day for 30 days, right? That's what we said that we would do initially, right? But for the habits that we form and the discipline and the things that we put in action now, we don't end at 30 days, because that 5 minutes a day keeps bringing incremental change for the rest of our life. And now we come into full potential and we find out what we're really made for. I love goals. I think goals are amazing. But what really gets you there is going to be how you show up in life and truly being consistent. So what we're going to do over the next few weeks is I'm going to give you some of those tools that I really believe will help you get long-term exponential results. But let me talk to you about a couple of things. September 29th to October 1st is our next boot camp. For those of you who would like to get your training and certification out of the way in a single weekend, this is what we've got coming up. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with you being aggressive and taking massive action. What if we could have massive action and we had daily results that we were going after? I think that that would be a great blend of both of those things, because I really think that you need both, especially if you're working full time and you don't have a whole lot of time to be able to engage in your training. Totally makes a lot of sense. That weekend is 7 powerful weekend sessions. And what are we covering during that time? Foundations of coaching, the anatomy of a dynamic coaching session, how to help your clients get extraordinary results, how to listen on a transformational level. how to ask powerful questions, and how to establish a growing coaching practice. There's live coaching demos as well as live Q&As at the end of each one of those sessions. What are we including for the weekend? Well, again, it's 7 live sessions with live Q&As and role-playing. That way you can actually experience coaching, you can coach other people, and it's an incredible place to be able to connect with other coaches and to start building community and also accountability for yourself. You're also going to receive coaching tools, question samples, coaching agreement, and intake samples. You're also going to earn that weekend, as far as your training's knocked out of the way, for your life coach certification. You're going to get a certificate, and you're also going to have access to HD replays and handouts. Now, you're also going to get free audits for life because we allow you to come back, and the cost of it is only $247. But here's what we're going to do tonight, and at least for the next week, what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this to $195. You're basically getting 25% off if you enroll now. You can click the link inside of the description of this video, and you can get enrolled. And again, you can save a ton of money by getting enrolled now. But let me tell you another way that you can save even more money as far as that's concerned. And this is going to cost us money, but it's going to give you a lot more help when it comes to getting trained, certified, and actually getting your business development steps going. Jumpstart is our business development program. It includes everything. So it includes training and certification and an A to Z business development roadmap, and it's only $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. What does it include? It includes boot camp. This is why this is a great deal. Boot camp is normally $247. It's included in the price of Jumpstart. So you get the weekend boot camp that's coming up at the end of the month, paying $97 out of pocket. It's a 3-month minimum commitment to be a part of Jumpstart. But let me show you what else Jumpstart includes. Jumpstart includes brand camp, because everyone that I ever talked to as a coach doesn't really understand branding. They don't know how to put a website together. They don't know how to choose a niche. They don't know how to write an email. We show you how to do all those things. We even show you how to optimize your website for search engines. We show you how to sell yourself without being salesy. And we show you how to, when somebody goes on your website, they should know in about 3 seconds who it is that you help and what problems that you help people solve. If you think you're going to get trained and certified and just emulate what somebody else is doing, a lot of coaches are not doing really well when it comes to these things. So the things that they're doing in social media and on their website is not attracting clients. So you don't want to emulate them. But what you could do, instead of paying $247 just to get trained and certified, you could join Jumpstart, come $97 out of pocket, start working on your certification, and get the business development help that you need, because that's what we include in Brand Camp. We also show you how to go from idea to launch, whether you are creating a coaching product, an online course, a group coaching program, or even just launching your coaching practice. In 8 sessions, you have access to this immediately when you enroll in Jumpstart. We give you step-by-step tools to go from 0 to launch, brainstorming the idea all the way to a 14-day product launch sequence. And we show you what to do on social media, how to write emails, all of those other things, so that you can blow it up with your launch. We also include in this is the Jumpstart program. It's an A to Z, showing you all the steps that you need to take to build your business. From what do you do every day in your business? What do you do on a weekly basis? How do you initiate initial contact with prospective clients, and how do you nurture a relationship with them, and how do you bring them through a funnel, through a process of becoming a client? We show you all those things. We show you how to sell, all those different things. We also give you the explosive first coaching session that demonstrates in a single session that you can actually help someone. All this is supplemented with a weekly group coaching call where you can connect with other coaches, and we give you feedback on anything that you're working on. You don't have to do this thing alone. It also includes Tuesday night training. So if you don't like trying to do a weekend crash course and you don't like self-paced, Tuesday night's the time to join, because when you join Jumpstart, you get access to the Life Coach Certification course that gives you Tuesday night training. Now, I just threw a lot at you. The price still stays the same, $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. When you total that up, it's $291. So really what you're talking about is for less than $50 more than boot camp, you get 3 months. Now you can continue staying with us because it's a deal. You're getting really $10,000 worth of training and business development help that works because we've done it. I've made over $1 million online, and I'm a multi-six-figure coach, so you know that I've been able to get the results. And I don't pump it up, and I don't make a big deal about it because it doesn't really matter. But you need to know that whoever you're learning from has actually been successful as opposed to just teaching you coaching skills. That link is inside the description. It'll take you 90 seconds to get enrolled, and we can start doing it together. Hannah, again, is helping us with that. It is September 29th to October 1st. That is the boot camp weekend. So anyway, anybody have any questions before we head out of here? And I know I'm 30 seconds ahead of you guys, but listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Over the next handful of weeks, we're going to be giving you tools, and we're going to show you how to get really exponential results in your life through 5 minutes a day. This is what's going to be the makeover in your life. And don't underestimate the power of 5 minutes. And if you need to be reminded, obviously you can watch the replay. And if you came in late, you can watch the replay of this as well. Also, thanks for your patience with the fact that we had a couple of technical glitches tonight, and this is not the quality that we usually like to have it at. But what we are going to do is that we are going to get the 1080p version that's being shot in-house together so that you can actually watch it online in its full glory, everything. And you know what we'll probably do? We'll even fix the date on that slide, that you guys saw. That's the power of post-production that you don't get to do in live stuff. So it's truly live, and we truly make mistakes. So anyway, listen, you have the link inside the description. We would love to partner with you and walk alongside you and take you by the hand, make this thing happen. Hey, have a great rest of your week and take care. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. If I sound a little bit hoarse, it's because I am. Talked about, 20 hours this past weekend doing training. Congratulations to all our new coaches who have gone through boot camp this past weekend. We started on Friday. They were troopers. They started on a Friday. We went all day Saturday. We went all day Sunday for them to finish all their training in an entire weekend. And so that was really amazing. But the old vocals take a lot of wear and tear during those times. And many times I take Mondays off because I sound like this. But I'm in such an exciting series with you guys right now that I didn't want to miss this opportunity to keep that momentum going. And if you're just making it into the room, see right here, let us know that you're here. I'm over here in the studio, so I don't have the privilege of seeing your face or hearing your voice. But the next best thing is that if you get into the chat and let me know where you're joining us from, what you're excited about, what you feel life and momentum on. Also, just a huge favor, like this post and share it. It tells Facebook and it tells YouTube that we're doing a good job. Also, because we are talking about productivity, I'm going to have you guys click into a link a little bit later to share over in our Power Lunch group about some of your own productivity hacks, some of the things that you do to be incredibly productive. Do me a huge favor, though, really quick. Jump inside of the chat widget, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, and let us know that you are here so that I know that I'm not alone all the way over here. So if you've been with us for the last couple of weeks, and even if you haven't, we've been in the series called 5-Minute Makeover. And really what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to help you become a better coach, but also overall in your life, just help you get more out of life and to come more into your potential than maybe what you have before. And so really that's not super hard. One of the things I talked about in the first week of this series, and we're on week 3, the first week of this series, as I was really showing you that to get to change and real transformation in your life is not always a major thing that you do every day, like massive, like we want to take massive action and get results. It's not always that. Matter of fact, if you want to have great transformation, ongoing transformation in your life, there's a few things that if you put them into action that are really about 5 minutes a day, you put them into action, you will incrementally get change and you'll improve by 37 times in an entire year. And exponentially, if you add that year by year, you can see some really extraordinary results that you'll be getting over time. Let me say hello to Diane, who's joining us from South Carolina. How's it going, Diane? Good to see you. Awesome. Well, keep those comments going. I'm going to leave that. Message on there so that we can jump in. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like to talk about getting more done. They don't really want to talk about productivity at all. Matter of fact, a lot of times when we talk about productivity, people, they're not really super excited about it. Matter of fact, we needed to do this week, but I figured this would probably be the least popular of the entire series because people are already feeling like, well, I already have a lot of different things going on. I'm already getting done. It's not real motivating to say, get more done. And so that is the problem. That's the problem with how we perceive productivity is because usually it's giving us more tasks, more lists, more things to get done, to implement to try to get things into our schedule. Well, I'm not going to do that today. I know that our email was written in a certain way that sounded like I'm going to give you more lists and help you prioritize your list and all that other stuff. All that stuff will actually work. Those things actually really will work, but there's a problem. Is that most productivity hacks focus simply on important task lists, and these are all great in concept, but they've got to be applied to the individual. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that, and I'm going to borrow some ideas off of Daniel Pink, his book, When, the Scientific Secrets of Perfect Timing. It's a great book. It's a great read. Daniel Pink's a genius. I love how he takes research and makes it really practical for people. So really what the theory is that we pulled away from this book and what you'll learn is that science tells us that we have internal daily rhythms that cause our energy to fluctuate. And if we're aware of it, we can optimize our tasks to be more productive. Let me say hello to a couple more people who are saying hello. How's it going, Lisa? Good to see you. You guys keep those comments coming in and your thoughts and all that other stuff, and we'll interact in just a moment. But let me repeat that. Science tells us we have internal daily rhythms that cause our energy to fluctuate. And if we're aware of it, if we know what our rhythms are personally, we can optimize our tasks to be more productive. See, here's the problem is that if I just give you a bunch of productivity things to do, like habits, routines, all of that other stuff, it may not work for you. And there's a reason why it won't work for you. It's because there are certain times of the day when you are more productive than others. And I should say this, you can be productive the entire day, but there are certain times of the day that are appropriate for certain kinds of things to get done. And if you're trying to do the wrong thing at the wrong time based on your wiring, then it doesn't matter what kind of a task list I give you or any of these other hacks, they won't actually work for you. So what we're going to do then is that I'm going to show you when your most productive times are today, and you're going to know, and then you're going to be able to use any hack. And if you just know when you can, when certain tasks are supposed to be done throughout your day based on your wiring, based on your rhythms, based on how you are put together, then you know what? Biologically, if you can get your biology on your side, then you're going to be crushing it. So, and you will be overall more productive. So when are you most productive? Well, here's what I need to share with you. There's 3 times of the day. What I say is that there are 3 times throughout your day, 3 rhythms throughout the day when you're supposed to be getting things done. So productivity, it's not really I'm only productive in a certain part of the day. You can actually be productive in your entire day, but there's certain things that you should be doing based on the rhythm that you find yourself in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to define these rhythms for you, and then I'm also going to show you what time of the day it actually works for you. So that first rhythm is peak. And peak is when you are most energized and you are most productive in terms of getting things done. But you have to understand how to spend that time. How would you operate in the middle of peak time? Well, you need to do during your peak time, you need to do deep work that requires you to buckle down and to focus. And when I say what do those kinds of things look like? Tasks like, well, think math. Think about analytical stuff like crunching numbers, reports, or writing. Now, there's certain things that you should not be doing during your peak time. You know what you shouldn't be doing during your peak time? You shouldn't be trying to do creative stuff during your peak time because you'll waste it. And you actually won't be as creative during this time. You know what else you should not be doing during your peak time once you discover what it is? You shouldn't be doing routine tasks. You shouldn't be checking emails. You shouldn't be doing menial things that don't really take your mind at all. This is when you can be incredibly focused and you're very energized and your concentration's at an all-time high. You can be vigilant, and so you can get a lot done. And so we want to have the right kinds of things done during this time so that you'll be most productive. Now, there's a second rhythm that you'll hit after, besides peak. The second rhythm that you're going to hit in your day is called trough. And trough is a significant drop in mood and performance. But you can still get things done. It doesn't mean that you're going to be unproductive during that time. It's just thinking about what do you need to do during that time to get the most out of it. So how should you be spending your time? Well, this is the time to do routine stuff. This is the time to do emails. This is the time to do administrative tasks. Anything that doesn't really require brain power or creativity or perseverance, that's what you do during that time. Now, if you've ever tried to get something creative done and you're like, the creative juices aren't flowing, and you're throwing papers and you're wadding things up and you're frustrated and you're staring at your computer screen or you're staring in your book or whatever that you're trying to write in or whatever, this is the reason why. You're not actually in your rhythm, because if you were in your rhythm, then creative juices would be flowing. Or if you're trying to concentrate and just, I'm trying so hard, but I'm having such difficulty concentrating and everything else, well, we're finding ourselves in the wrong period. So don't try to do those things. We got to be aware of what part of the day, what rhythm of the day that we're in. And so this one is, because it's not requiring much of us. And so what it allows us to do is to still be productive and do this mindless kinds of stuff. You know what a lot of you guys do though? You'll wake up in the morning, and most people, I'll show you this in a minute, most people, their most productive time is in the morning, in terms of peak time is in the morning. And you know what they do? They spend it checking email. They spend it doing this, that, and the other. This is the time when you want to do it. Delay those things until later when it has its appropriate time and place. That way you maximize your time throughout the day. Now, let me say hello to a couple of people. Tina says, I disagree that that writing is a creative process as well as an analytical process, and I am most effective creatively. I think it's all about semantics. It's just definitions. It's just words. So we're not really in disagreement. We just have a semantic thing going on here. Who else do I need to say hello to? Tina from Texas, so happy to be here. And thanks, Paul, for being here, even with your sore throat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, let's keep going. 3 is recovery. And this is a less productive time, but you're loose and you're in a good mood. So how do you spend that time in recovery? Well, this is how you spend it. You spend it in brainstorming. You spend it in problem solving or looking for solutions that aren't obvious during that particular time. And so during this time, I want you to think of design, so design, creativity, marketing, any of those things, especially if you're doing those kinds of things in your business, if you're doing a coaching program design, if you're doing a course design on that high level, thinking creatively and everything else. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be crafting sentences during that time, though you might actually be. Just it really depends on when your flow is. Now, how do you find where your rhythms fall? And Daniel Pink in this book talks about the difference between larks, third birds, and owls. And you're like, Paul, what the heck is that? Well, you fit into one of these categories. So what are these categories? Well, first of all, a lark is an individual who's naturally inclined to be early. Early birds are about 15% of us. So 15% of the people who are watching tonight or watching in the future, you are an early bird. And I'm going to show you, and some of you might not be certain if you're an early bird or not. Well, we'll get to that in a second because I'm going to show you not quite a foolproof way of figuring out what category you fit in. But if you are an early bird or you suspect that you are an early bird, well, this is how you need to be working. Your peak time is going to be in early morning, right? Peak time's early morning. Your trough time is early to mid-afternoon. And you can kind of say that's going to be about 7 hours from when you woke up. That's when you're going to hit that lull. And so what are you going to be doing during these times? Well, remember what we're doing. Remember what you're doing. Focus concentration for you early birds starts in the morning. Then you're going to do your administrative task and your routines and everything here, right? And then the creative, when your brain is, what we'd say is your brain and your mind's pretty loose, you're going to be doing that in recovery, which is going to be, afternoon, late afternoon, or evening. That's when you're going to be doing that. Now, let's keep going. Third birds are really, they fall in the middle of the spectrum. And so they don't rise very early and they don't stay up very late. And about 2/3 of us fit into this category. So far, just as a guess, if you had to take a wild guess, how many of you are early birds and how many of you are third birds? You know, you're not a super early riser, but you get up in the morning like most people and you get things done. So what that's telling you is that 15% plus this other, you see that the vast majority of people are getting things done, are most productive at least in the morning time in terms of that peak time. So early morning is when your peak is, and your wait, did I make a mistake here? Let me look at something really quick. Did I make a mistake? Oh, you know what? I didn't fix this. Paul, that's not the right information. So what you're going to say is your peak is not early morning. Your peak is morning to mid-morning. And that also means that your trough is going to be somewhere around like lunchtime to afternoon time, and then you're going to hit recovery a little bit later on in that evening. Forgive me for not having that right information on there. I have no idea what happened. Now, the last group, oh, and let me look really quick. Who says that they're what? So Shekinah says that they are an early bird. Hey, there's Keisha. Hey, how's it going, Keisha? And Shekinah is joining from Trinidad. Very good. Awesome. Tina, who is saying hello. Tina says, so happy to be here. And thanks, Paul, for being here. I already said that, actually. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Now, let's talk about the owls. Tina says, I think I am an owl. Whoops. I don't know what that is. That's a number. I think I'm an owl. Well, let's see. Is Tina an owl? Let's look at it. Peak is late after. So owls are 20% of people. So this is a hard thing for you owls out there. You know why it's so hard for owls and it's so unfair for owls? Because the workplace is designed for early birds and third birds. And owls don't have the same rhythm as everybody else. Now, my wife has kind of adjusted. It seems like age kind of changed that for her over the years. But for so many years, I would be going to bed at like 10 o'clock at night. Not because I was an early bird, not because I was a lark. I've always been pretty much a third bird, and that's where I still live. But my wife, it was like we would be almost passing in the night. She would just get turned on around like 11 or midnight, like something would switch on, and then she'd be up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up, and there'd be a whole painting in the living room or something like that. So that's really amazing. But the challenge is that most of us are working in a workplace that currently does not serve our natural rhythms. But you can still, as much as you can, adjust, even if you're in a workplace where you have to be at work at 7 in the morning or 8 or something like that. So peak for you owls is going to be late afternoon and evening, and often well into the night. Now, your trough period for you owls is early morning, it's morning, it's late morning, it's any time that's rhyming with morning. You owls have a real problem with that. I'm not knocking you. It's just like, I feel it. It's very unfortunate. You know, if we could adjust this, I mean, imagine if we could adjust everything. Maybe if we could even adjust this for young people. Like what happens a lot of times in schools is that they'll do math at the end of the day, or they'll do math in the middle of the day. And it's a terrible time for most kids during that period. And there's a lot of people who are saying that at least 20% aren't early birds or third birds at all. They're owls. And so we've got systems in the way that we're educating people that what they've proven is that math scores improve overall if math's done early in the morning. But a lot of times schools aren't operating in that way. Some have adjusted to that. They've kind of seen some of the science and everything else. But it's really unfortunate. We could figure out a way to maximize everybody's potential. But recovery for an owl is going to be early afternoon. And what happens with an owl is that you progress from early afternoon to getting more and more alert as you go along. So again, if we look at this, you can see for you owls when you need to be focusing your most productive times, and also and obviously when you if you are an owl, look at your trough period. This is when you want to be doing the routine stuff that doesn't require a whole lot of you, doesn't require a whole lot of concentration, brain processing, any of those kinds of things. Cool? Awesome. Well, what I'm going to do before we wrap everything up is I'm going to show you how to identify as precisely as we can which one you fall in. I know some of you assume I'm an early bird, I'm a third bird, or an owl, but I'm going to show you which one you actually are. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach yet, and you would love business development help, wouldn't you love like the step-by-step on how to launch a coaching practice? Well, that's what we do at Life Coach Training Institute. We're not just training and certifying coaches. We have a 4-word mission statement. It's, what is it? Do you know what it is? It's proficient coaches, thriving practices. We want to see both. We want you to crush it on both ends. That's why we talk so much about business and everything else on top of what we talk about in terms of coach training and you learning the competencies. The best program that I think that I can offer you is our Jumpstart program. It includes training and certification and a full business development suite. It's an A to Z business development roadmap where we take you by the hand and we include a coaching community as well as a group mentoring call that happens every Wednesday. Let me show you some of the things that it includes. Now, bootcamp just ended this weekend. Our next date's probably going to be about 4 or 5 weeks away, depending on how Thanksgiving falls and all of that other stuff. So stay tuned on that. But Jumpstart includes our bootcamp program, which enables you to start on a Friday, go live the entire weekend, knock out all of your life coach certification training in a single weekend. Also, Jumpstart includes Brand Camp. It's 13 hours of training. We step-by-step take you through developing your marketing message. You know, we do everything. Search engine optimization. We show you how to develop a website. We show you how to write an email. We show you how to write a sales page. We give you all kinds of different tools and bonuses. And again, that's all included inside of the Jumpstart program. Our coaching product launch blueprint shows you how to go from any idea, brainstorming ideas, all the way to a launch, whether that means your coaching practice, a webinar series, a group coaching program, an online course, whatever you're wanting to develop, because I'm a real proponent of creating multiple streams of income for your coaching practice. There's a lot of ways to make money as a coach. And sometimes it's a really big leap to go from here to having a one-on-one client that's paying you $200 to $300 an hour. So what you do is that you create steps and you create smaller, less objectionable kinds of content and ways that they can work with you in a group that's a lower price point. And when they're helped to a greater degree, then you've earned the right and you've earned their business for something else. And so that's what the coaching product launch blueprint is that we give you all these tools. We take you by the hand. And here's the other thing is that our group coaching call that we do every Wednesday, we answer any of the questions that you have on the coaching side and also the business side. So it's a group of coaches who are incredibly supportive. They're all a bunch of geniuses. And what we do is that we look at what you submit. We look at what you're working on, any of the challenges and everything else, and we give you feedback and we help you dial it in to be really successful as a coach. Also, all of this program includes Tuesday night training where we go live and I walk you through the life coach certification course. It also includes a live Q&A, and it also includes connection with other coaches on that time. So you get 2 nights of live training and live mentoring. You get all the full self-paced life coach certification course. You get the live weekend boot camp, and you get all the business development help for only $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. Now, I know you know this is a good deal, because if you've looked at most of the training and certification programs, they don't include any of this stuff, and it's only getting a certificate, and you're paying $4,000 for it, and you have no clue of how to get clients. And so what we do is that we help you overcome your self-doubt and we give you the tools to be successful, and we take you by the hand so that you're not doing this thing alone. On top of all of that, we make it affordable so that we're not saddling you with debt, so that you can start off on the right foot, hit the ground running. I should also include all of this stuff includes a bunch of samples, a bunch of tools, a bunch of editable documents so that you're not having to figure out anything. We give you coaching agreements, we give you tools, we give you samples. All of those things are actually included in this as well. Now, let me say hello to a couple of people, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to show you guys how to figure out which group you fall into. Shekinah says, I cannot function late. And let's see. Who else do I need? What else did I see? Oh, what time is the group coaching call on Wednesday? Wednesdays are at 5:30 p.m. That's 7:30 Central. That's 8:30 Eastern. And they're always recorded. So if you miss one of those, if you're in the program and you miss it, we always record it and we have it posted within like 24 to 48 hours. So no one has to miss those things. All right, cool. Well, you ready? Let's look at your sleeping pattern, which is going to give us great information and great data as to which group you fall in. Now, let's look at it. What group do you fall in? Well, here's how we do it. If you're if we're going to figure out if you're a lark, if you're an owl, or if you're a third bird. Now, here's what it says. If you're midpoint of your sleeping pattern, so let's say that you went to bed at 10 o'clock, and then you had to get up at 7:30. Let's say you get up at 7:30. Now, 10 p.m. to 7:30 means that, well, your midpoint's going to probably be, let's see, that's about 9.5 hours of sleep. Wouldn't it be great if we could get that? 1, 2. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that would be 9.5 hours of sleep. So if I go 4.5 in, we're going to probably be hitting like around here. Now, if your midpoint is somewhere in this range right here, that if it's somewhere in that range, like right here, whoops, let me try to get that again. If it's in this, if it's before 3:30, then that means that you are a lark. See if I can explain that again. So what is your regular time of going to bed? And what is your regular time of getting up? What you do is whatever that period of time, and maybe it's not 9.5 hours, maybe it's 7 hours or whatever. What you do is that you look in the midpoint, and if it's before 3:30 a.m., which would actually be right here, if it's before 3:30 a.m., then you know that you're a lark. If it is after 5:30 a.m., like if this is the point, so let's say that somehow you went to bed even later. Let's say that you're going, you went to bed at 1. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so what do we find in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's happening? If we're getting around in this range right here, we know that you are an owl. If you're somewhere in between here, then we know that you're a third bird. So in both cases, lark and third bird, that still means that you are a morning person, and that's where you're going to find your peak. If you're an owl, well, you're not alone. It's about 20% of the population. But again, as a reminder of what we showed you, you will have your peak actually beginning in the early evening, and as you progress, as late as you want to go on the evening. Awesome. Dawn says, I have been an owl since I married my husband 20 years ago. Tina says, I am a lark also because of my husband. Awesome. And Jennifer says, I missed it. Well, you know what? The replay is going to be coming right up. We try to get the replay going as quickly as we possibly can. All right, cool. So Isn't that much better than me giving you a bunch of lists of things to do and everything else? Now, you can go out and find any kind of productivity hack that you want out there. They will all work, but you got to make sure that you fit them within the appropriate time. Because it doesn't matter if you've got a list of priorities or any of those other things, they're not going to work if you don't have them in the right time. Now, look inside the chat widget. I just put in a link, and I don't know where all it's going to allow us to see. There might be a couple of places where you can't get to it. But if you come to my like page on, or if you look on Facebook for Power Lunch for Coaches, we have a question for you to be able to share your own productivity hacks that you would like to share with the world. Your own 5-minute productivity hack that you think works. Let's pair it with what we learned today, and let's crush it, everybody. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement. Woo, trying to get that out. Mentor Monday is your weekly dose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. Just a huge favor and jump inside of the chat. Hopefully, while you're getting in the chat, I will untie my tongue and we won't have challenges today. So let me know that you are here, that you are watching. I'm all the way in a studio in California, so I can't see your beautiful faces or hear your voices. But the next best thing is that if you let us know that you're watching via chat, tell us where you're joining us from, what you're excited about. If you've got any comments or questions while we're doing this tonight. Also, just a huge favor, like and share this post. It tells Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job, and we really tried to do a great job for our coaches that are out there. Every week we try to put something together that is not fluffy, but that it challenges you, it encourages you, but also that it's practical and that you could walk away with something. And that's what a big part of our goal is tonight, even, is that you're going to walk away with some tools that you can immediately put into use. Let me say hello to Christy, who's saying hello to me over there in Lubbock, Texas. How's it going, Christy? And if you would, do me that huge favor. As you're making it into the room, let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're joining us from, maybe what you're excited about, and also keep your comments and questions rolling throughout, because I'll make it back over here to the chat and I'll engage with you. I'll answer any of your questions. And this is an exciting week because it is boot camp week. Yes, this weekend you can get trained and certified in a single weekend. You can join us on Friday night. It's 2.5 days of training. You knock all of your certification training out. All you got to do then is turn in your assignments and take the exam. Hey, it's easy peasy. But it is an accelerated weekend. So I've got to get all like ready up here and primed and take care of my vocals, because it's a lot of work to stand here all week training people while they get to sit in a comfortable seat and watch it at home and engage and have fun. But anyway, let me say hello to some more people. Karen, who's joining us from Washington State. How's it going, Karen? All right. Well, I'm not going to delay any longer. Let's dive in. Last week, we started this new series, 5-Minute Makeover, and it's all about helping you become a better coach, but also have a better life. And so, what I've found is that there's a lot of powerful tools and there's a lot of powerful routines and habits that we can actually start sprinkling into our life. I know that sometimes when there are things that you want to change in your life, people are like, man, let's go after the biggest thing that we could possibly get. Let's do the biggest thing that we could possibly do to try to get this massive kind of result. And what I was telling you last week is that if you are consistent and you use powerful routines, powerful habits, powerful things, small change in your life ends up making a great change over the course of your life. As a matter of fact, if you can make one change in your life and keep it in play for an entire year, what we learned last week is that you will be 37 times more improved in that particular area. And so what I'm trying to give you over this time is I'm not trying to exhaust you, and I'm not trying to frustrate you, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you with something massive to do. There are things that you can actually implement in your life that take about 5 minutes a day, and you can have a better life and you can be a better coach. So what we're going to be doing as these weeks progress is I'm going to give you some things that help you in your life, but you can also in turn take these tools and help your clients with them. I'm also going to give you some tools that can really help you as a coach specifically. Some of these techniques and some of these skills and everything else that if you can practice these things on a weekly basis, and you can be amazing and you can improve. Let me say hello to a few more people. Diane in South Carolina, Felicia in Dallas, Texas. Sandy is joining us from New Jersey. Christy's joining us from South Carolina. Oh, South Carolina's taking over tonight, apparently. Keep those comments coming in as we jump in. Now, I know when you hear this word stress, usually when you even say the word stress, it's amazing how that word can make you feel something. It's connected to something. But the interesting thing about stress and being stressed, they're not really the same thing. I know that when we think about stress, we're thinking about stress that's bad, but really not all stress is bad. As a matter of fact, moderate stress can actually improve your brain performance. And it does that by strengthening the connection between neurons in the brain. And this helps to improve memory and attention span in order to make you more productive overall. Some of you who are on here tonight, I'm going to throw myself in this group of people. If it's not you, you've probably heard someone say this. I do better when the pressure's on. I don't know if you're one of those people who it seems like you just seem to thrive under pressure or whatever. This is what's actually happening in their brain. That little bit of pressure seems to actually turn on some things, turns on creativity, turns on some neural function, turns on some cognitive ability or wisdom or insight that maybe they didn't have access to before. Now, that would be great if we operated at that level. Moderate is still low-level stress. You need level 1 stress to even be awake or alert or anything else. Moderate stress, not a bad thing. You need to be challenged. You know what? You don't challenge yourself regularly. You don't challenge your brain. Well, you use it or you lose it. And so some problems happen if you don't have moderate stress in your life. But we're not really talking about level 1 and moderate stress. What we're talking about is the stress that actually is causing you problems and it's causing you pain right now. As we're talking about that, what we're really saying is that bad stress actually impairs your memory and makes you more forgetful. I don't know if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever been late? Confess it. Anybody been late before? Or you're about to be late? You only had like 5 minutes to get out of the house? And if you ever notice when you're trying to just get out of the house, you've got an appointment, it's work, it's the doctor, it's pick up the kids or whatever. Do you ever notice that in that 5 minutes, you're 5 minutes late, you're just trying to hustle. You notice that you always lose your keys during that time? You ever notice that you always forget something? You ever notice that I can't believe I left the house. I had it all sitting there on the counter to grab and I left it. Some of you confess, have you ever left your purse, your wallet, your phone, your water bottle, your lunch, that lunch that you're going to bring to work, and you had it there on the counter and you were going to bring it, and then on the way there you realize 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, while you were driving, that you didn't bring it? How many of you could actually confess to that? Let me say hello to a couple more people. There's Patricia, who's joining us from Washington State as well. Good to see you, Patricia. So if you're honest, we've all experienced that. Why are we experiencing that? This is why. Because bad stress impairs your memory, impairs cognitive function in that kind of way. And long-term stress is really going to damage memory, but we can experience on a micro level the fact that stress makes us forget things, we were all prepared, we had everything together, and then we left. I can think of times where I went to the grocery store, and that was like one of my errands or whatever, and I get all the way over there. I was like hustling over there for something and walk in and realize I don't even have my wallet on me right now. I can't pay for anything. Or that I get in there and I can't even remember what I'm in the store for. Or I get in there and I get one thing, but I forget maybe the most important thing. This is even what stress, even in a moment, can do to you to actually impair your memory. But bad stress also does some other things to you. You know what it does to you? It actually kills your brain cells. I don't know if you guys knew that. Let me say hello to a couple more people. Yeah, Christy saying yes. Karen says, yes, this happens to me too often. Sandy admits, thank you guys. Confession's so good for the soul. I appreciate that. So, bad stress kills brain cells. Bad stress makes you less creative. And I'm going to show you why it actually does that. Bad stress makes you less creative. Bad stress makes you bad at problem solving. And bad stress makes you susceptible to disease. Now, how does this work? Well, when you're in a stress mode, this is fight or flight. In fight or flight, you got two options in fight or flight. Here's what fight or flight is supposed to do for you. It's supposed to save your life. It's not supposed to be a place that you live. It's supposed to be a place that momentarily saves your life. So you will fight, you will put them up, or you will be looking for the way to get out of there. And you only got two options. It narrows your options. Matter of fact, things will actually happen to your pupils and everything else in that moment. And you will make a decision that is usually not some kind of a logical, rational decision. You're actually not operating in any true problem solving or creativity. It's narrowing the options just to save your life. Now, if you operate like that on a daily basis with things that really require some creativity, really require some ideas, you'll end up making really bad decisions on limited amount of information. How many of you will admit that you've made some really bad decisions when you were stressed out? Anybody ever told you, don't go and have that conversation while you're still mad? Why? Because when you're angry, you're in fight or flight. And you're probably going to say something you didn't mean. Or you're probably going to say something that was not well thought out. Or you might say something that you wish you could change because you hadn't later, because you didn't really consider all of the options and possibilities. That's happened to every one of us. That's what fight or flight does to you. That's why we don't make big decisions during that time, because we're not supposed to be in fight or flight. That's not a normal setting for your body. It's only in those real dangerous times that those things happen. So what it does then is that it takes your ability to be creative, because you're not in the right side of your brain, and it takes your right side of your brain problem solving ability out of the way. And so you're not problem solving very well. But the last thing that, if you didn't know this, is that when you're in a stress state, it actually makes you susceptible to disease. Long-term stress, if you look at the data, medical data and everything else, just generously speaking, I'm being generous because it might actually be higher than this. 75 to 85% of illness is psychosomatic, and a lot of it has to do with stress. Now, some of you think you don't have stress, but if you have nervousness, you have stress. If you have apprehension, you have stress. If you're worried about things, that is stress. All of these things, there's a lot of things that we have operating in our everyday life that we don't even realize that we are stressed out about things, and we really are. So what I want to do is I want to help you have a better life, but I want you to become a better coach, because I know a lot of you are still working full-time jobs. Some of you are trying to be creative and you're trying to figure out how you get your business out there and all of those other things. And stress is never going to do us any favors. I know things are happening in life. I know at the exact same time that we're trying to help the world and get a coaching practice started, that we are also still trying to stay married. We're trying to stay good moms and dads. We're still trying to do a good job of the existing workplace that we're in and everything else. And you know what? That can create stress, and it's not going to serve us very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in 5 minutes a day how you actually reduce stress. I'm not going to tell you eliminate stress, because you don't want to completely eliminate stress anyway. What we want to do is that we want to get out of the negative stress state and move forward. So look at this picture, would you? Does that picture give you anxiety? Have you ever looked at someone's phone that looked like this? Look at this, 736 unread messages there, 1,939 emails that have been unread. And look and there's another inbox. And then there's all of these others. I know some people who do this very thing. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. Raise your hand if you're one of those people who gets on your phone and you just need to clear out all the notifications. You need to go on your social media and just clear them out. Not that you acknowledge all of them. You just have to clear them out. And you go into your email and you just select that button, select, and you just hit red on all of those messages. Bart's giving a funny. He says, "How'd you get a screenshot of my wife's phone?" Oh man. Well, here's what happens. What happens is that when we have all of these things, this is what's happening in your brain in a stress state. And when you have all of these apps open, you have all of these things going, because that's what happens. You ever pick up somebody's phone and they got like 73 apps, and what happens on their phone? The phone doesn't work very well. And you can't just restart the phone, and you can't just close the apps, because there's processes that are hanging around in the background that are actually taking up memory. It's taking up productivity on your phone. So you know what you have to do? First thing you have to do is you have to close all of the apps down, and you have to clear all this stuff out, and then you need to reboot the phone. Now, here's what happens. You reboot your phone, you get all of that processing power back. And then you can have a happy life on your phone like you were meant to have. Not have it barely moving and barely. The other day, my wife brought me her phone, and she's like, "I need you to help me with this." And I was like, "What is it?" She was like, "I can't take any more pictures. I'm out of memory." And I'm like, "How is this possible?" Because we have everything backed up to the cloud. Well, I don't want to mess up anything, so do it. So she's handing it to me, and it's like, and so at a certain point, her phone won't even function anymore. So what we're trying to do is that with these stress busters, we're going to relieve the tension. We're going to get all of your productivity back and make you resourceful again. So here's how you get to 5-minute habits to reduce stress. Here's how we're going to do it. Number 1, we're going to interrupt. Number 2, we're going to focus. Number 3, we're going to feel. And number 4, we're going to return. And I'm going to show you what each one of those are. And before we walk away, I'm going to give you a few different tools that you can actually use that utilize these things right here. First thing that we're going to do is that we're going to interrupt. What do you mean by that, Paul? I mean, choose anything that allows you to interrupt the state that you're in. That's what you've got to do. You're right there, and you're in the environment, and you're in the middle of it. You're in the middle of the circumstance. You ever had your parents, or maybe you've been a parent and you've told your kids to walk away? I can't walk away. I don't want to walk away. And that's not what you want to do in the middle of a stress state. in many cases. But what we've got to do is that we've got to actually create a disruption. We've got to interrupt what's going on. Now, how do you interrupt? And really, it's pretty simple to interrupt, because interrupting, one of the easiest things that you can do is just change the scenery. That means that you can leave. You can go to another room. You can turn off the lights. You can close your eyes. You can turn on music. See, all of these things right here begin to change the scenery. Now, I know a lot of people can't leave the room because sometimes where they're at, like, I can't leave my office. I can't leave whatever. Well, then you've got to change the scenery. How do you change the scenery, though? Well, you've got to close your eyes, or you've got to turn the lights out, or maybe you turn your computer off. Maybe you turn your back to whatever you are facing right there in that moment. See, for me, I can remember in the days when I was working for other people and I didn't really have a choice. So I had to figure out, how can I take control of my surroundings right now in the middle of this stress state? And these are some of the things that you can begin to do. What you've got to do is that you've got to remove yourself from whatever is stimulating or reminding you of the challenge at hand. This is precisely why I never coach people in their own houses or in their own place of business or any place that's familiar to them. When you put somebody in a place that's familiar, if you're trying to be creative and you're sitting at a place where you do menial tasks all day, or you're sitting in your living room, or you're sitting in your kitchen that's familiar, and you know what you'll end up doing? You'll start seeing a pillow that's out of place. You'll start seeing something that is calling your attention. If you're in a space where your computer is sitting there, you know that there's probably work emails that are calling out to you. And you know what's happening is that it's messing with you because it's calling out for you, so you can't actually be creative during that time. It means that this thing's probably not only got to be off, it needs to be out of sight. Because sometimes those things themselves can actually trigger our stress state and everything else. So you've got to do something drastic that actually interrupts what's going on. Second thing, you got to focus. So when I say focus, you need to do something that can't be done without focus. See, a lot of times what people try to do is, well, I just want to be out of sight, out of mind. No, that's one thing that you need to do, but you can't just go out of sight, out of mind. Have you ever tried to not think about something? You start thinking about it every time, don't you? No, you've got to interrupt, go somewhere else, and you've got to do something that requires you to be focused in the moment. So what are some of the things that you can do? You can drive, you can draw a picture, you can write, you can clean up a room, you can exercise, you can find something to watch, but you need something that actually can take your focus, that requires you to actually give it your focus. You can't think. You need something that grabs the hold. Why would I say draw a picture or write or drive or something like that? Because when you kinesthetically get involved in something, you end up, you'll find that you can't think and do something else at the exact same time. It might actually be dangerous or whatever. You know, I will say this problem seems to be, this is an easier fix for guys in most cases, because for some reason guys don't know how to do two things at the same time, generally speaking. And my wife reminds me of this all the time. She sent me a reel on Instagram earlier today that was literally like, it was like a mom that was sitting there trying to make a smoothie, and there were like 30 things coming to mind of whatever they needed to do. And then they show the guy making the smoothie, and he's just sitting there looking at it, smiling at it. And then the only thought that popped up is, now I need to poop. And that was like literally it. But anyway, hopefully you could visualize that. Well, maybe not visualize it, right? Next thing you do, you got to feel. You got to allow yourself to feel a preferred state. This is really, really important, because if you want to get back to productivity, think about in your life when you made the best decisions in your life, when you do the best work. When is it? It's when you feel the best. It's when you're in a great state of being, mentally and emotionally. So what you've got to do is you've got to interrupt and you got to focus on something different, and you've got to allow yourself to feel like you want to feel. Any preferred state will do. Anything's better than a stress state. So when I say a preferred state, any state that you want, you're not just trying to take your mind off of things. You want to be present and feel what you are doing now. So experience gratitude, experience the feelings that go along with laughter, whatever it is, accomplishment, or, if you're a geek like me, then, I do weird things like I watch urban exploration videos. I don't know why. I've been fascinated with like treasure hunt kinds of things and stuff like that. And urban exploration. I love when they go to a place that's kind of like been untouched for like 50 years or whatever. And I'm like, and when I see buildings and stuff that have a top floor that I can tell, I always imagine no one's visited that top floor in 40 years. I'd like to go up there and explore. And attics excite me and stuff like that. Like, I'm weird like that. And so when I watch it, I'm engaged in it. I'm intrigued by it. I'm learning something. It's like I'm exploring with them or whatever. You've got to find those things. See, to get out of this stress state does not mean that you've got to go do something serious. Sometimes some of the best things that you can do is just do something exciting, thought-provoking, or inspiring, or just something that's goofy and funny, but you've got to allow yourself to engage with it. And then you return. Because when you come back, you're going to find that all those notifications have been cleared out. You're going to find that all those apps have been shut down, and you've got a full reboot, and now you've made resources available again for you. So let me give you a few ways of how you can make these things happen, and they're going to be super simple, but pay attention. Habit number 1, close your eyes. Why is closing your eyes so significant? If you can't get anywhere, you can't do anything. Habit 1 is really powerful. You know why? Because 50% of the surface of the brain is devoted to processing visual information. And when you close your eyes, you're going to free up the energy associated with that 50%, and you're going to allow your brain's much needed recovery. This right here can change your life. This right here is a really quick tool that you can give to your clients with this bit of information. You'll tell them, and you're going to look like a genius, because most of them don't know brain science. Did you know that half of your brain's actually dedicated to what you see with your peepers? So close them. And when you close them, and I want you to try it, even right now where you're at. I know we look like doofuses right now, but it's okay. No one's probably watching you right now. Close your eyes. Just do it with me. I don't know if you guys can experience this, but where I'm standing right now, I can feel the stress level dropping because, well, I can't see cameras, and I can't see lights, and I can't see all this blue light coming off of these screens or any of those other kinds of things. See, you're turning off certain things, you're shutting down certain things, and now you know what? You can actually feel that state, your own state of being. Even if you're not stressed right now, you can feel things start to calm. Here's another one. Write and feel. So when I say write and feel, a lot of times people are like, oh, read affirmations, write affirmations, all of this other stuff. And I get it. I do affirmations. I teach them, all of that other stuff. They actually work. But sometimes when you're in the middle of a stress state, those affirmations are just not helpful. They feel like work, and it feels very forced. So here's a hack around all of that, because I want to give you hacks. What you're going to do is that you're going to write, because when you write, you slow yourself down because you can't think faster than you are writing. I don't know if you've ever tried this before, but if you ever sit down and you try to write your thoughts or write in a journal, some of you are spiritual people. Try this. For some of you who are spiritual people and sometimes you struggle in praying, write your prayer down. You know what happens is that it slows your mind down because you can only write so fast. Now, I try to write fast, and my handwriting is already terrible. You guys have seen me write on the whiteboard. You don't want to try to read my journal. I can't even read my own journal, but I've got stacks and stacks of journals. Every day, it's a discipline in my life that I get down, and what it does is that it centers me, it slows me down, and I start thinking at a fraction of the speed because I can't write that fast, and you can only think as fast as your hand will allow you to write. So try that. So write for 5 minutes. This is what you're going to do the entire 5 minutes. Write words that give you a more productive state. Any productive state that you need. Now, you can have a bunch of them, but you might pick one, you might pick several. Maybe you write about things that are joyful. Maybe you write for 5 minutes straight on why you're grateful. Maybe you write 5 minutes straight kind words to yourself. Maybe you write 5 minutes about something that feels like winning or freedom or fun or accomplishment or rest. I mean, listen to the words. Close your eyes, and I want you just to hear when I say the words. If I just wrote the words, not even sentences, what if I wrote these words? Rest, peace, tranquility. See how even saying those words mean something to us. So if you just took 5 minutes and just wrote down the words, you don't even have to write down sentences. You don't have to do anything complicated. Any of those, any of these states, words represent states that are better than being in a stress state any day. Habit 3. Habit 3 is to deep breathe. I am terrible at this. That's why I'm putting it in here. I'm confessing that I am absolutely terrible at breathing. I actually I don't know when I learned this because I've done it literally my entire life. The more I think and concentrate, the more I hold my breath, and I'll find myself holding my breath. And my kids have the same habit. It's like a weird genetic trait. I have no idea. But here's a problem when you don't breathe. When you don't breathe, what you don't realize is that the brain uses 20% of your oxygen. So that means that your brain needs a lot of oxygen. It's 2 pounds up here, and your brain's getting 20% of all of the oxygen that you've got pumping in and out. So the therapeutic benefit of just breathing, I mean, you can take your pulse, you can take your blood pressure and everything else. So how do you do it? Well, whoops, where did my thing go? Don't just breathe, but you got to deep breathe. So there's a lot of different breathing techniques that are out there. I'm going to encourage you to Google several different kinds, but there's some that they've actually given to military personnel specifically that can help them because they were in such a stress state. So a lot of those things that you can, some of the best techniques for deep breathing has actually been for people who are in military. Number 4, habit 4 is to drive. And when you go for a drive, you're going to leave your phone behind. Why is that? Because you don't need it. You ever notice how you're sitting around like trying to come up with an idea? I just need an idea. I need a strategy. Or I need a prayer answered. I need to hear something. I need to figure out something. And you ever notice that while you're driving, that all of a sudden it's like, eureka! Like this eureka moment hits you and you're like, I know exactly what to do now. I should have taken a drive a long time ago. Sometimes that same effect can happen when you're taking a shower. But driving, again, it occupies you on a bunch of different levels. For one, you're removing yourself. So look at how we've combined these things. It interrupted. You're removing yourself. You're going to see new scenery. And I would encourage you to drive into places that you're not used to seeing. Stuff that can capture your imagination, your attention, where you can pay attention to new streets, new places that you've not driven, so that you're not just simply going on program mode. And so you can take yourself out of the mix. So you're interrupting, you're focusing, and you're kinesthetically, doing things with your body and everything else. There's movement that's happening. And now you'll notice that the stress state resolves itself. Now, I guess if you live in LA, I wouldn't encourage it. But for most of us, we can find some peaceful places to go for a nice drive. Driving away from the environment that is causing you stress can give you the literal and figurative space that you may need. And it also does a couple of other things. It gives you solitude because you're by yourself. You get away from people. And driving in new places makes you focus. So driving in and of itself can pull all of those things together really, really powerfully. Now, this weekend is boot camp weekend. Some of you have not gotten trained and certified as a coach. And some of you are like, the reason why I haven't gotten trained and certified was, well, Paul, it's expensive and I work a lot and I don't really have a lot of time. And some of these programs are taking like 6 months or whatever. Our boot camp weekend is a weekend accelerator program. It's like drinking from a fire hose, but you get it done. And it's fun and it's dynamic and it's powerful and it's full of a lot of other aspiring coaches from all over the world that are excited about being there in the weekend. You meet some of your best friends during that time. You meet people who are going after the same kinds of things. You find accountability. You find people who share your dream and share some of the purposes and values that you live for in your life. It's this Friday night. We start Friday night and it's all day Saturday, all day Sunday. You knock all of your training out in a single weekend. What are we covering in these 7 powerful weekend sessions? We're covering foundations of coaching. We're covering the anatomy of a dynamic coaching session, how to help your clients get extraordinary results, how to listen on a transformational level, how to ask powerful questions, and how to establish a growing coaching practice. We also include over the weekend live coaching demos as well as live Q&As. Now, what all is included for the weekend? What 7 sessions with live Q&As and role playing. You also are going to receive coaching tools, question samples, coaching agreement, and intake samples. You're also going to earn your life coach certification. You're going to get a certificate. You're going to get HD replays and handouts, and you're going to get free audits for life. That means we're going to allow you to come back to boot camp again in the future because you know what? If it's been a year, it's already changed for some of you who've been through it in the past. And you know what? You get to come back. Now, you'd probably expect at least $3,500 for this program. We're giving it to you for only $247. Why is Life Coach Training Institute so affordable? Well, there's a couple of different reasons. One is that it's very purposeful because we want to be affordable. But another big reason why we are affordable is because we don't have sales teams. And so what happens when you have a program that you're giving 25% of the tuition to a salesperson? Well, that drives your costs up. And that's one of the things that, you know what we do? We make a no haggle price. And you know what? If you don't see the value in it, or it's a real simple decision when you see the value in it, that you're like, this is a $3,500 program I get for $247, and we make it easy for you. I don't want you to be in debt. We're really big on you coming into coaching mastery and making it affordable and not adding debt. You should not be, it's unnecessary. No point in starting your coaching career with debt. And as I look around, most people don't want to add, somewhere between $4,000 to $15,000 worth of debt when they're trying to start a new career. And so that's our gift to you. That's our promise to you. And it's because we just want to serve you really, really well and make it happen. We're taking all the excuses away. Your competency, your confidence excuse, as far as that's concerned, you're going to learn the skills, and we're going to take you by the hand because we do this live. You'll also, after you join us this weekend, you'll keep getting invited to Tuesday night training so you can continue engaging with us, because we're not just some internet school where you download a certificate. No, we're live. You can talk to me. You can talk to other students. You can partner with other students and what you're working on and everything else. We want to have a relationship with you and make sure that you know that you're not doing it alone. And on top of all of that, we're going to do it in a way that doesn't put you in debt and doesn't put you in financial risk, and help you live into your purposes. And so that link is inside the description tonight. You can get over there and you can get enrolled. You'll have a couple of different options. The most reasonable option really is to do Jumpstart, because it's $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. And Jumpstart gives you an A to Z business development roadmap on top of including you in boot camp. And so when you do the math, that's less than $50 for 3 months of boot camp. Or you can just, if you're like, hey, I don't need business development help, then do this, $247. But do something. If $247 is too much for you to come out of pocket immediately, go for the easy pay enrollment. It's $47 a month for 6 months. And that way you can enroll for $47 and you can join us this weekend. Cool? All right. Well, let me see if I need to say hello to anyone over here. Diane says, boot camp is fantastic, packed with real life training. Meeting coaching friends is also a great benefit. So good. Christy says, you mentioned going outside during the interrupt section of stress reduction. I would also think that go outside could be a fifth habit. Getting yourself outside has so many benefits, from fresh air, change of space, vitamin D, etc. Absolutely. So today, I had some things that I needed to get done. And I knew if I was in the studio or in the office or whatever, I wasn't going to get anything done. And so I made a plan to go all day and work outside. Now, I had a pretty amazing view today because I was right there on the cliffs doing my work, and I got done in 25 minutes. Like, I got there and I sat down, and then all of a sudden it just kicked in. And what it felt like I couldn't get done for about a week, I got done in like 30 minutes. So it really works. And I practice these things. And so absolutely what you're saying, just getting outside, all of those things do have major benefit, you know. And there's a lot of other stress reducers out there, of walking, of running in place, of moving, whatever. But they just don't have to be complicated when you know how things work. And you know what? You guys might have some of your own that you want to recommend. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is go over to our Power Lunch group. It's a free group on Facebook. And if you guys have specific stress reducers that you use, post them in there and share them with the other coaches who are over there. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week, and make sure that you get enrolled for this weekend. I love to join with you this weekend and watch you crush it and step into your purposes. Hey, have a great rest of your week and take care.